Thank you very much. Welcome and welcome everyone.
Thank you, Luciano. Thank you for the introduction. Thanks, team, for being here. Today, I want to share with you briefly a little bit of my day-to-day workflow using AI. Hopefully, most of the things that I am going to present today are not new especially for the developers here, but also for all the whole team, because AI is already something that speeds up our life, I will say, to be honest. So today, let me share my screen. I will start by sharing a brief presentation that I prepared for today. So I will start sharing probably here first my screen like this, and then I will share the rest of my screen to show you a use case, like see everything in action. So let's start by presenting this. I hope you can see this. Please let me know if you are able to see this. Do you see the presentation?
Yes.
Okay, this one. Perfect. Okay, so as mentioned, this is a hands-on workshop to explore some AI tools that help us to improve the development lifecycle. And what do I mean by development lifecycle? Well, I mean like improving or speeding up since creating a single project or since working from the terminal until creating or opening a pull request on our repository. Okay, so all those things are influenced somehow by AI in my daily basis. So I will show you all that. Okay, so these are the goals of this workshop. The goals would be to speed up development, to show some seamlessly integration between those tools. I will show you a hands-on example of using those tools, and hopefully this brief talk inspire you somehow to use AI on your daily basis as well. Okay. So the tools that I wanted to bring you today are basically 5 tools. First, I will show you these 4, and then I will show you the 5th one. And those tools are basically ChatGPT, Warp, Cursor, and GitHub Copilot. Okay, so hopefully all of you already know and use all of them, right? ChatGPT, of course, a conversational AI assistant, like super well known. I use it to help me not only create a scaffolding of our application, of my application or whatever, but also to help me, architect or design applications from different perspectives, from like the UI UX perspective to the data and how it should look like for like my request. It helps me determine as well if relational or non-relational or a graph database would be more relevant to that kind of project. So ChatGPT, I use it a lot to help me with the engineering part of the thing. Okay, then I use Warp, which is a terminal with AI, basically. It is multi-platform. It initially was launched only for macOS, but now we have distributions for Linux and Windows as well. And there are a lot of nice things about it, but one of the most interesting things of Warp is that it allows you to use natural language to check or find quickly some commands that you can use on the terminal, for example. It also can help you to scaffold some application or something like that, but I don't use it with that purpose. Okay, I use it more with the terminal, tasks related. So it has the smart command suggestion as well. And, for example, when I need to find any command, I ask it with natural language. It gives me that command. It asks me if I want it to execute that command, for example. Also, when I am doing, for example, a sequence of git add, git commit, it starts suggesting me, like, for example, git push to the origin, or that kind of stuff. Or if I like, for example, check out from a feature branch to the develop branch, for example, it asks me or suggests me in the terminal if I want to create or to make a pull from the main branch or from the develop branch or whatever. So that's great. It helps. It improves my life, my development life cycle, because yes, I just hit the arrow, it fulfills the command, I hit enter, it does whatever it has to do, and so on. And then the next tool is Cursor. I put here Copilot as well because for those who don't use Cursor, Copilot is a great alternative, for example. And Cursor, for those who don't know it, I hope all of you know it. It's basically a fork from VS Code with basically a lot of AI and a lot of power from AI, basically. So one of the main advantages of Cursor is that it has the context of your code base, okay? And having the context of your code base is great because it understands what is that you are building, and it suggests to you code that aligns to the goal of your code base. And also you can set up some rules. It could be either globally or locally for your project, for example, where you ask him or ask it to specialize in your code base. Okay. Oh, sorry. There was any question? Maybe? No? Okay, I will assume no. With those rules, you can say, for example, hey, I am working on a TypeScript project. This is a Next.js application, for example. I am using Tailwind, for example, or I am using, I don't know, any other, let's say Bootstrap or whatever other CSS tool, and it specializes into that. And from your code base and from whatever you have already there, it starts suggesting you code using those tools. And then you can set up, for example, rules for, hey, I don't want to use functions, for example. I want to use always arrow functions instead. And when you are creating some effects, for example, when working on React, you can ask it to always create custom hooks instead of creating some effects within the component itself. So you can do a lot of things with Cursor. It gives you a lot of power and flexibility from those Cursor's rules. And then there is a Copilot that if you are using, for example, VS Code, you already have an extension that you can install, use GitHub Copilot, and it can suggest you code, autocomplete code, generate a boilerplate, and so on. It also learns from your code, which is great. And then the fifth tool that I wanted to show you today is Greptile, which is your AI code detective. And this is a great tool, mainly like the previous tools that I show you, of course, help a lot with the development lifecycle, right? Like helping you find quick commands on the terminal, for example, to execute then creating boilerplate on your IDE, either Cursor or VS Code or whatever else you use. So yeah, those things are extremely are super related to what happens before you actually push your code to your version control system, right? And Greptile comes in place exactly in that moment after you create the PR. There is probably common bottleneck on most of the teams when we open a PR. Of course, all of us know that most of the whole team is working on their own things. And whenever someone opens a PR, it requires, someone eyes to check to make sure that everything is looking good, that we are following a code guide styling, for example, which is important, that we are, probably if there is a strong senior team working together, we can spot, potential functions that could be improved, remove unnecessary code, for example, or remove unnecessary if statements, or, whatever. That's the main purpose of the code review, to make sure that we follow code style guiding, that we deploy or deliver performant code, like with the minimum risk of introducing bugs to our system and so on. And so this is where Greptile, which is like probably the main tool that I wanted to show you today, comes into place. This tool is compatible with both GitHub and GitLab, so you can give it access to your code base, and every time that you open a pull request, then Greptile will run and will perform a code review on your PR, and will give you insights of your PR. So first, it will describe your PR, giving a peer review. So, letting you know, and whoever is going to review it, what that PR exactly do, what were the changes done. And then it goes through the code and suggests you changes. So, for example, please consider creating a specific type for this response, avoid using any, or move this into a separate module to have more control over error handling and so on. So this is something that I highly recommend, because once Greptile performs the code review, when a developer comes to that PR, there is already a summary of what that PR does, of what changes can be applied to that PR, and all of that having the context of your code base, and knowing what the goal of that PR is. Okay, so that's it. I will show you that in action right away. But before we do that, I wanted to show you this small graph. And by the way, this slide, of course, everything was generated with AI, because, as I mentioned, AI is everywhere, and we probably want to use it to speed up things, come up with things quickly, faster, and more beautiful, because I don't have those skills to create these beautiful presentations. Of course, this is, I didn't have a lot of time to go deeply into, doing a lot of things. So this data is from AI itself. So I'm not sure what sources did it found this, but this is a couple of things that there is a couple of things that caught my attention. And for example, these learning new APIs, and I can give you I can tell you confidently that this is one of the most powerful things from using AI tools, for example. Because, for example, right now I am using Convex on the backend. For those of you who don't know Convex, it is a TypeScript, JavaScript TypeScript kind of backend. It already provides you with a non-relational database, document-oriented database, actually. With a lot of things out of the box. It gives you like two hooks, use query and use mutation, to perform actions directly to the database. Also, some other hooks to interact with endpoints and API related stuff. This is not about Convex, but just wanted to let you know about that. By looking at the documentation, it was kind of overwhelming to go through it and grab the things that were more relevant for me to perform my work and so on. And then the AI gave me a lot of insight and inputs on how to use it quicker and faster, than going through the documentation itself. And here again, I used a lot of ChatGPT to help me with that. So wanted to show you that, wanted to bring this graph because yes, it saves a lot of time when we use AI tools. Okay. So before, probably these key takeaways will be like the last slide that I will show you before I move into the actual example. But let's talk about them right now, so I don't come back here later. Okay. So the key takeaways that I wanted to, maybe spark on you today is that we can start small if, in case you don't use AI already. A good thing would be to practice daily, at least, set aside 15 minutes and explore things with AI. Then doing what I am doing right now, share knowledge. I am not an expert on AI. I am not like the most skilled person using AI. However, I have seen how AI have dramatically improved my development life cycle skills and so on. There is some controversy because there are people that say, hey, if you use AI, you probably are not, it is because you are not a good developer. You don't have the confidence on your skills and so on. And there are others that say, yeah, if you use AI, you will, maybe elevate your development skills. I think I am more on the second team, where when you use AI for development, of course, you need to know what you are doing. Otherwise, the AI will introduce a lot of issues, can introduce a lot of issues and vulnerabilities and so on, that require you to be well aware of that, to have that awareness of what you are doing, and that you have to have full control on that code. So it doesn't mean that AI will replace you. I used to think that, but it is not the case. I think this helps us a lot. And then, of course, while you do all of that, you can slowly measure that impact and make sure that you are making progress as you use AI. Okay, so now let me share with you real quick. Let me come back here and let me just share my entire screen. And probably I will bring back the presentation here because I don't want to see my face. But yeah, and thanks for attending for sure. But please let me know if you see here my editor and my warp. Is it okay? Nice one, perfect. Let me just yeah, probably increase the size of this a little bit. So here I wanted to show you how I use this on my daily basis. So I do have here some changes ready to be committed. This PR is not ready yet, but I wanted to bring you this example. Okay, so I will first start by staging all the changes here. Okay, and then I will open the chat from cursor here, and I will call the div, so the div commit from Git, of course, and I will ask it to create a commit message, for example, right? So it will start looking at it, it will start understanding what's going on there, and by after analyzing it, it will probably suggest me a commit message for all these changes here. Yeah, it is asking me for, run this, run that, and then from that change, from after running the git status and the git diff, it will suggest me this commit message, right? So I can go ahead, copy this, come here to my terminal. Let me check if I can increase the size of the font here. I will just copy it here, right? And then I will just hit enter. It will start running my rules. Okay, there is an error on convex orders. So let me check real quick. What is that? Convex orders work. And what is the issue here? Unexpected any. Okay. For the purpose of this, let me, what line? 65. So here is any. Let me just ignore this for now. I'm not sure if this yes. Let me just check if this and 106, this as well. And let's just add that change. Let's see if it will accept that. Of course, it won't. Let me just ignore this for now. I think it's no verify. Yeah, so with no verify, I don't know if you noticed that once I started to add the flag, warp suggested the rest of the command completion. Sorry, I was a bit quick. But yeah, as you can notice here, it already suggests me to push those changes. So I will say, yeah, please do, and I will push those changes to this branch, and then we can come to our GitHub, and here I will create the pull request. I will grab here only the title of what Cursor suggested to me. And then here, one of the things that I do is that I ask Copilot as well to generate the summary of what was done, because this gives more context to the code reviewer. Sometimes we add a super brief description of what we did that actually doesn't cover all the changes that were done on this PR. So Copilot makes sure that nothing is missed. So yeah, after it adds the description or the summary of the PR, I actually open the PR, and then a couple of things start happening here. It start checking things. So probably the CI will fail because of the issue that we already saw on the terminal. However, this is still in progress. I will put this PR in draft. Just wanted to show you this real quick. So along with the CI and along with all the integrations that are running on Vercel side, also greptile is running. And I will show you, as you can see here, greptile came up with a couple of things. I will show you this in a wee bit. I just want to show you the face of greptile. So here you configure your project. Then you can come here on settings and connect it either to GitHub or GitLab. And then you will, add the repository. And then also you can set up some rules for greptile. You can do some context. You can do some integrations as well. And you can set up some rules. So for example, I have some rules defined that, for example, I don't want it to run on the main branch because the main branch contains the code for it will be merged from the develop branch to the main branch. So of course, I don't need to perform a new review on the code that is already merged to the develop branch because it was already reviewed. So I just want to perform that merge. So I can set that kind of rules. You can set up some, branches that you don't want greptile to work. You can set up rules like, for example, hey, run whenever the PR is open, and on all the subsequent commits on the same PR, for example, you can set up rules like no, run only the first time that the PR is open, and then never run again. So that kind of setup and configuration can be done on greptile side. And now let me show you a little bit of the feedback that greptile provides. So it says, for example, here, hey, consider moving webhook processing logic into a dedicated service controller for better separations of concerns and consistent error handling. So this is a great input. Here it will ask other things related to, like, for example, a script on the package.json, add formatting for non-type script files, JSON, CSS, MD, because we are here covering only TS and TSX. Also, it says avoid using TS ignore, either fix the type or use a more specific type assertion. Here, I didn't show you the cursor rules. I will show you them in a little bit. So, as you can see, it gives you a lot of insights of what can be improved on your PR. So if I am a reviewer and someone else open this PR and I look these comments, I can also say, hey, this probably is not that relevant, and I can interact with it, and depending on the interaction, if I give it a thumbs up, it will understand, okay, this was a nice suggestion, a appreciated suggestion for the developer. Or if I give it a thumbs down, for example, it will ignore that kind of suggestions in the future. So greptile also learns by your interaction with it. So the PR review gets improving over time as you give it feedback. But you have to give it feedback so it learns from you and from your code base. Okay. And yeah, finally, real quick here, if we come back to the cursor rules that I mentioned before, you can set up a couple of things here. for example, I say, hey, you are an expert in TypeScript, React, Node.js, Next.js, blah, blah, blah. A lot of things. I can set up some code style and structure. I can set up some rules for coding style, for example, uses two-space indentation, always use single quotes, use semicolons, a lot of those things. And a lot of this is already there. Like, we have a cursor directory where you can check some of those rules made by the community on different tools. Like, for example, here are for front-end developer, Next.js, Vue, Chrome extension. I have for Python, of course, for a lot of, it suggests me a lot of this stuff because I work mostly with TypeScript. But you can see, Python, Expo, React Native, Tailwind, PHP, Vite, Zod, Zustand, and so on. So yeah, team, this is basically, I wanted to show you a little bit of my daily basis workflow. This is more or less how I work. I use a lot of AI here with Warp to suggest me, or help me with commands, Cursor to help me with boilerplating and so on, ChatGPT to have some discussions around architecture and design and some other stuff. And then finally, Greptile to help me with the code reviews. And there are other things as well. For example, there is Devin AI, which is great to help you. Like, for example, when your task is looking good, but the product manager said, hey, I wanted you to change the verbiage. I wanted you to, instead of submit, I wanted to complete. So you can ask Devin AI to do that change, those changes. It changes the code, it opens a PR for you, it does everything for you. So you just give it a prompt and it will do it real quick. I haven't worked a lot with that. I am exploring on that. Probably in the future, if in the future, if I have a good grasp of it, I probably can come back and show you a little bit of that. So team, that's basically what I wanted to show you today. Thank you very much for attending. And if you have any doubt, please let me know. Or if you want to talk a little bit more offline, please reach out to me through Discord. I will be more than happy to try to help you and set you up or whatever with this. Thank you very much for attending and